Canterbury was the stepping off place for New Zealand's Antarctic research program. And as a student at Canterbury, we were often visited by international geoscientists who came to the university on way to or back from a summer in the Antarctic. And because they had to come through Christchurch for logistical reasons, the department was very good at encouraging these guys to come along, give workshops and seminars and guest lectures and things like that. And I thought to myself, how cool would it be to get a job as a field assistant, having just completed my degree, with one of these visiting international gurus. So I applied for a field assistant's position within what was then called Antarctic Division of Department of Scientific Industrial Research.
DSIR.
DSIR, yes. As it was called then.
Would that be, excuse me to interrupt, would that be perhaps a Kiwi equivalent of CSIRO?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly what it was. It's now called Geological and Nuclear Sciences, but basically they were charged with geological mapping of New Zealand, understanding of New Zealand's mineral resources, and also undertaking under contract to the Antarctic Division of DSIR, the New Zealand government's geological mapping project in Antarctica. So I was called in for an interview, and that was an encouraging development. Just getting to interview I thought was pretty cool. At the end of the interview, the interviewer, who happened to be the boss of Antarctic Division, said, "Well, John, we've got a problem." I thought, oh dear, I'm not going to make it. He said, no, the problem is that this year no international gurus applied for the positions of field leader on this year's Antarctic program. So they said, how would you like to be the field leader? I mean, I'd only just finished my degree, and apart from a summer in Australia, I hadn't had any real practical experience. But I certainly wasn't going to say no to that. The other successful candidate was a guy who became a very good friend of mine, Vince Neal, who's now the Professor of Geology at Massey University in Palmerston North. And the two of us looked at each other when we got offered field leader and deputy field leader, when the best we were hoping for was a field assistant position. And that put a whole new context on being pushed into the deep end. So my first job out of university, before even graduating, was to spend 94 days in northern Victoria land in Antarctica as scientific leader of a 6-man regional geological mapping program.
And what was the highlight of that 90 days?
There were so many highlights it wasn't funny. At the end of the summer, I thought to myself, crikey, if this is what geology has led me to in my first year out of uni, can it get much better than this? There were a lot of highlights. Finding that the whole Gondwana sequence, which had fascinated geologists further south in Victoria land, was alive and well and complete in northern Victoria land, was a new scientific discovery. The whole Gangomopteris glossopteris flora, the shield basalts, the continental sandstones, and the full spectrum of Antarctic stratigraphy right back into the older metamorphic basement rocks. Full spectrum of Antarctic lithologies in the field area that we've been given to map. The previous summer, the party that had done the same sort of job the previous summer had spent their whole summer in an area dominated by greywacke and granodiorite. That was it.
So no fossils?
No fossils. And they had spent literally the whole summer mapping in a relatively monotonous kind of geological terrain, whereas just a little bit to the north and a little bit further inland we had the pleasure of the full Antarctic stratigraphy. But there were other highlights, not just on the geological side. If you can imagine spending your whole summer walking and climbing and exploring in places where no human being had ever set foot before, you can imagine how exciting that was for a new geology graduate to find there were such magnificent jobs available, if only you are out there looking for them. So it was a lot of highlights, but it was a personal highlight, personal stimulation like I don't think I've been stimulated before. Amazing.